car.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That does suck though. Because how does that work? I mean, not the car. Because isn't it still on lease
I think he ended up buying like
or
lease
bought
out.
out? How much did he buy it out for?
Well, I think he converted it to buying it, so he could just move from being a lease to something else. I'm not too sure.
That's what I mean. Like, I'm wondering how that works and how much he ended up owing on it.
I don't know. I don't know.
Neither do I.
Um. Yes. Yes. Yes.
I actually didn't have a lot saved this week. There wasn't really a whole lot that I found that I was very much interested in.
Now a lot of fucking football news, which I give
Oh
two
yeah, you
fucking
follow
shits
any of the
about.
footballs now?
Trying not to.
Yeah, the only thing that I had saved was a story about Christopher Nolan saying that he wants to do a horror movie. That was really it. He was talking to who was he interviewing with? I don't remember. And he was just saying that that project that he would like to tackle is just a horror type movie. He says, I think horror films are very interesting because they depend on very cinematic devices. It's really about providing a visceral response to things. So at some point, I'd love to make a horror film, but I think a really good horror film requires a really exceptional idea, and those are few and far between. So I haven't found the story that lends itself to that, but I think it's a very interesting genre from a cinematic point of view. It's also one of those few genres where the studios make a lot of these films, and they're films that have a lot of bleakness, a lot of abstraction. They have a lot. They have a lot qualities. They,
That might be a typo.
that might be a typo. They have a lot qualities. Ugh, I, I, I can't. I can't.
You can't English
Anyway,
that.
that Hollywood is generally very resistant to putting into films, but that's a genre where it's allowable. That's it.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
I would like to see a Christopher Nolan horror movie, because it's it'd be a weird movie. It'd be so high quality, but it could be like Tenant, where it's just a weird concept type of thing.
Yeah. Or I mean, can you imagine like the intensity of like a Dunkirk,
Yeah.
but with like those like whole scenes of like nothing but background noise, like no music, no score. It's just like intensity
Mm-hmm.
with like I can just imagine like those long shots that he has and like shit just in the background. Be it whatever fucking entity that he chose to be the horror element of it, just kind of like always lurking in the background. Like you see someone walk by a window, and as they walk by, there's like a silhouette, and then when they go past it, the silhouette's gone. Like kind of shit like that. You're just like, I don't like any of this.
He would be a great director then for like an Alien type of movie,
Yeah.
like an Alien or Aliens type of movie.
Oh, did I tell you I wrote I don't think I told anybody this. Like last weekend before, when Paige was at work, I wrote a small idea for an aliens movie.
Nice.
Yeah.
That actually ties into a topic that I didn't have saved, but maybe you have seen, maybe you have not. Uh, OpenAI, the creators of ChatGPT, released, quote unquote, like semi released, something called Sora. Have you seen this?
Mm.
Okay. We're going to have some fun here right
Oh.
now. I
Oh.
want you to open up your browser and I want you to go to openai.com. I'm going to go along with you so that
Oh,
I can.
introducing Sora, creating video from What?
Yeah, go ahead and click on learn more about Sora.
Oh, so they did this too?
Uh, if you clicked on it and you scroll down to the first bit, uh, hopefully the video will load for you. Sometimes it's a hit and miss on whether the videos load for me. I have to like refresh the page, but
It's
the whole
grayed out
page
for me.
is AI generated video, and
Oh, the prompt below it.
yeah, the prompt is like when you're on the main page, it's on the lower left hand. It says learn more about Sora. Uh, it is scary good. Nope, I don't want to copy and paste. I want to reload the page because for some reason the videos aren't loading.
Yeah, mine either.
Give it a second. Give it a second.
Oh, there they go. Now they're not
Yeah,
grayed
there
out
they
for
go.
me.
I don't know why. But the first one you see is like a woman walking down a street in Tokyo.
Yeah. Is there audio
There
on
are
this?
some like little things here and there that I say Tokyo actually. Oh yeah, according to the description, it's Tokyo. So if you look at the bottom of the video, the prompt that they gave the Sora in order to make the video is just a stylish woman walks down a Tokyo street filled with warm, glowing neon and animated city signage. She wears a black leather jacket, a long red dress, and black boots. There's a little bit more here. And carries a black purse. She wears sunglasses and red lipstick. She walks confidently and casually. The street is damp and reflective, creating a mirror effect of the colorful lights. Many pedestrians walk around, or walk about, I should say.
This isn't real?
This is not real. There's a few things that you can tell about, because it's not perfect.
Yeah, it moves a little oddly. But she's not a real person?
She's not a real person.
What the
This is
fuck?
all AI generated. This may be pulling from obviously it was probably pulling from some real place, maybe, but it's not real. You can see like every once in a while her hand becomes kind of like a claw-like looking thing, but there are things about it that are really like the signage in the background. If you see like the blue dot sign with the two arrows, like
Yeah.
one of the arrows is kind of wonky, but the fact that it still manages to track that as it disappears, the people walking the background are out of focus correctly. It's really cool. But towards the end there, when it does a close-up of her and then it pulls back out to her to show more of her, the jacket changes as well. It's kind of funny, but the fact that it can do this type of stuff
The close up is insane.
is scary good. But it got me thinking of, because apparently, first off, this is only in beta. What you're seeing here is they're allowing only certain people. They're kind of giving it out to certain people and say, hey, play around with this a little bit. Let us know what you think. Give us your criticisms and stuff like that so we can try and fix it. And I think it's limited. They said it's limited to 1 minute of video. So I thought it'd be kind of cool that if they ever did release this, like you could make your own like short stories.
Bro, how is that
with
Tom
this.
Hardy?
So you could literally take a lot of the stuff that you've written and be like, hey, do this and see what it does, what it pops out. Now, as you scroll, so each section has scrollable scrollable to the right.
Yeah.
So you can see the stuff that they have up top is like the really good stuff. There are still like a little bit of inconsistencies with stuff, but it's like really good. The way it handles like the next one over is woolly mammoths walking, the fur, the smoke or I guess it would be more like snow.
Yeah, it's the snow mist.
Or whatever
Yeah.
coming off of them. It looks so good. The next one over, really weird, but it's like a astronaut.
Yeah, with
walking
with
through
a knitted helmet on.
Yeah, with a knitted helmet. Yeah, it's so weird. Then you have like ocean. The next one over is just an ocean scene.
Yeah, that one's weird because like I don't like. It looks too real. I'm like, this just is real footage of like a fucking weird building on a cliff somewhere.
There are still some oddities to it. Like I saw somebody point out that the ocean waves a little bit too straight. You know, the one that's crashing in. And if you really stare at it for long enough, I'm sure you can find little inconsistencies here and there. But
Yeah,
if
but
you're passing by this,
yeah,
and
if
you're
I
just
posted
like,
this
oh,
and hey, took this with my drone, you'd be like, oh damn, that's a good ass video.
that's a good ass video right there. Blah blah blah. Anyway, I'm moving on.
Yeah.
The next one,
Yeah, the animated one.
Yeah, the next one is just an animated video. Like it looks like someone just sat down and used Blender or any number of you know open any number of 3D generated content thing to just create this. But this is just AI created from a literal animation, from a little prompt. Just I typed in stuff. It looks so cool. And then the papercraft fish. The next one over is papercraft fish.
Yeah.
What's cool about this is that because it's already surreal, any inconsistencies in it generated by the AI is kind of just lost in the fact that it's surreal papercraft anyway.
Yeah, it's like someone wanted to animate papercraft and they did it.
Mm-hmm.
The parallax on some of the camera shifts are bizarre, but that's because it's obviously not real in general.
Yeah.
That's fucking weird. Oh, what the fuck?
Scrolling to the next one is the bird.
That's not a real bird?
It's not a real bird. The prompt is this close-up shot of a Victoria Crown pigeon showcases its striking blue plumage and red chest. Its crest is made of delicate lacy feathers, while its eye is strikingly red color. The bird's head is tilted slightly to the side, giving the impression of it looking regal and majestic. The background is blurred, drawing attention to the bird's striking appearance. But what's really creepy about this picture is birds have like a jerky motion the way they move.
Yeah, like
and
that.
This does it so well.
Yeah, I don't like that. Beer pirates.
Yeah, beer pirates is the next one, which is just like it kind of has that tilt
coffee.
shift effect
Sorry,
to it.
it's coffee.
Or coffee. It has that kind of cool tilt shift perspective to it. Like it looks unreal.
Yeah.
But it still is like amazingly real.
Yeah, and the fact that like the liquid is bending around the boats.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a little bit of not like catching it properly, but still it's very, very.
It has an uncanny valley-ness to it, but it is still like everything is interacting what seemingly would be correct.
Yeah, that's wild.
And then what is this last? Was this last one? Yeah, the last one. I don't recall seeing this one. Guy reading on a cloud, which is not as impressive. It just looks like a dude on a green screen.
Yeah, but just like the fact that this dude isn't real.
Balls. But what's funny is if we scroll down, it starts to explain a little bit more of like the different things that it can do and the things that it struggles to do. So what is the next one down? I think it's more
Old West
capabilities in this section down here. Historical footage of California during the gold rush, and it looks like somebody just flying a drone around an old western town.
Yeah.
The next one for that is the little dude in what would be like a
snow globe Zen garden.
Yeah, Zen garden type thing. Now, this and the other one, it make me wonder, like, what could this do for 3D animation? Like, what does this look like if Disney or and Pixar like took this up and it's just like we don't really need,
Well, you need to for, if I remember correctly, copyright rules is obviously you can't let it generate non-copyrighted material, right? So you'd have to give it all the assets. So you'd take this, instead of letting it pull from the internet, you would let it pull from a curated list of assets already, right? So you'd say, I want to, you have all the assets from all the Toy Story movies, right? All in one big ass fucking computer file, right? On a dedicated server just for this. And you give it the prompt of what you want it to do in a scene, and it could pull all those across and do it for you, essentially. and then you could go have an animator go through and tweak it to fix things that are off.
Mm-hmm.
But like, yeah, I mean, it's definitely something you could. It's dangerous because Taj just said ready, ha 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 ha. Like always, 20 minutes late. But yeah, it'd be dangerous because like you could obviously like you get some backlash of taking jobs away, but if you're still employing artists to create the assets, right, and then just using this as a tool, right? Because like when you look at software now for animation, we watch the Corridor Crew people. Shout out for the guys who probably don't know we exist. They often talk about how like the system will render what they're doing, right? They put in, they go through and they make all the changes to the algorithms and put it and plot in the wind that they want and like the degree of what it is, right? So like the physics are right and whatever, right? This kind of software could, or this AI could get rid of that use, like need to have that skill set. You know what I mean? And you'd still have to have artists because you still have to have someone create the assets needed, right? You don't want to use this to create the assets. You want to be like, hey, I want Woody and Buzz to be in a jousting match. Woody is going to be on I can't think of the name of his horse right now. And then
oh my god, what is the name of his horse?
and then and have Buzz riding Rex.
Yeah.
And it would generate utilizing all the assets that are, and you could say in Andy's bedroom with the rest of the toys cheering on as different teams or something like that. You know what I mean? And it would then generate what you want it to be, right? But it's using the assets you've already created, so it's not creating new assets. It's not searching the internet for what a kangaroo in a fucking Hawaiian shirt dancing in a bar would look like. Because that's the one I'm happy to look at right now. I think it's a kangaroo.
Kangaroo, yeah.
But you could use those prompts to pull the assets you already have for it to then create the scene you wanted, and it would be less of a villainized AI usage. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people who, if you remember when the ill-fated Secret Invasion show came out from Disney, they used AI to create the opening sequence. Pissed a lot of artists off because like the Disney's using AI to take away jobs. But the whole thing was that that no one really talked about, and I'm not saying they're wrong because that's kind of fucked up, but what happened was an actual artist created those assets and then had AI morph the characters around. So he used AI to animate the art. So they cut out an animator's job, right? Like, which sucks. But that's just how it works. But with AI is not going to understand that like, for example, using Toy Story, Woody is animated differently. The way he moves and the way that Buzz moves around are different because they're different style toys. One was like a rag doll and the other one's an action figure, right? So you'd still have to build those into the assets, and then the AI, I'm not defending or saying this is what they should do, but then the AI could then take all that these animators have built into it and just animate a scene utilizing the already set parameters for those assets. Just like doing that in like any of those programs that are out there now for generating these things, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So if you're using your copyrighted material with animators doing a lot of it, you can cut out a lot of the middle work of having to painstakingly create and hand animate and put in all those things where you could use AI to then work out the animation flow of things, and then you can tweak it from there, because I'm pretty sure AI will give you the code it built to produce it.
I don't know.
If
as far as I'm aware, this just takes in a prompt and outputs a video, and I don't know how much it involves with other assets or with what it outputs, um, it might have and if we once we get down a little bit further, it talks about that some of the weaknesses, because you mentioned like how uh, uh, Buzz and Woody are animated differently. That might be something that it might have shortcomings with, because you're right, like having it understand the differences in the toys might be something it has a difficulty with already. A lot of this stuff that it's already showing is more like perfect world type stuff. It's very slow. It's mostly just very very imaginative or hyper realistic. And one thing that was pointed out by somebody else that I was watching is that you don't see any of these characters eating or anything like that. So you don't have some of the more complex, some of that more complex stuff happening for the AI to understand. So something like Buzz and Woody might actually be slightly out of its wheelhouse right now to understand what a ragdoll is and what an action figure is and how they move. Unless you can really feed it like hard, this is a ragdoll, this is an action figure, and have it understand that type of stuff. Because if we scroll down a little bit further, you have like some of the more complex set stuff it can do, like the Jeep, or not Jeep, the Range Rover type looking thing, moving through a valley is incredibly good for the complexity and how it knows what a cliff is. It knows what a mountain is. It knows
I think
what
it's
an
a Hummer.
SUV is. What?
I think it's a Hummer. Or, well, it's probably an amalgamation of stuff, but yeah.
Yeah, because like you look at the back, and like most AI generated stuff, text is not exactly the greatest thing. It doesn't know what things are. It calls it a Danover.
That actually might be a real thing.
That might be a real thing.
I think so.
Because it kind of looks like the back end of a Land Rover to me. So a Dan Rover would be like a Land Rover, but it's Dan's Land Rover. It's a Dan over.
Danover is an anti-dandruff shampoo with... Oh, it's not... What was I thinking of? Oh, it's also a location?
Well, Danover is a place, yeah.
It's also a
But
last name
to
of a
have it
human
on the
being?
back of what looks like just a Land Rover doesn't make sense to me, unless it's how, like a bus or something like that, where it pulled the imagery from. But you have, like in the next video, you have just complex window glare. The fact that it can understand the brightness
Yeah.
and the darkness as a because I think what was this one, reflections in the window of a train traveling through Tokyo suburbs. Really good. The rest of the stuff is really good as well. But we can move down to not the next section, but the section after that is where it talks about the weaknesses.
Yeah,
and
I was watching some of these.
The very first one is a dude running on a treadmill, but he's running back. He's not facing the correct direction.
Yeah.
And the treadmill, for some reason, has wheels on it, which gets me as well.
It's a mobile treadmill, Joe. Join the real world.
Yeah, I have a movable treadmill. It doesn't have this type of wheels on it.
The 5 gray wolf pups frolicking is creepy because they morph into each other.
But what's so funny about it is it morphs so well.
Yeah.
Like, it's so weird to watch that, and just that one kind of like just jumps out of the other and disappears in one of the other ones. But it's so well done that it's just like, it's kind of mesmerizing rather than like creepy to me.
The sand with this chair thing is disturbing at best.
That one's hilarious. Did you read the prompt for it? So archaeologists discover a generic plastic chair in the desert, excavating and dusting with great care. But what's hilarious to me is like the guy picks it up but doesn't like grab it. He has just his hand on top of it, and then the chair just slowly floats away from the hand after a second. And it's like, it's so surreal about how real it looks, but how fake it is.
Yeah, and the chair's like
still interacting with the sand and everything, and like it.
Yeah, it's
morphs
very
and starts
scary.
to
Yeah.
to ball up. It's just so fun and funny and creepy and weird about how real it looks, how well it interacts with things like sand, but it's not real. It's funny. What was the next one
The
after
grandma.
that? Oh my god, this one is like a little unnerving because of the creepy face on the grandma, where she
Yeah.
goes to blow out the candles and just completely whiffs it, and not a single candle gets blown out.
Yeah, it just makes me think grandma's a little senile and might be blind.
Oh my god, watch the lady in the black and white or flower dress.
Her hand?
Uh, yeah, watch her hand. Oh my
Yeah.
god, it just morphs and it's just like.
Yeah, it's not good. But both hands are very, well, she has got extra thumbs on the one hand,
Uh huh.
but like both hands have that cerebral palsy movement to them.
Uh huh.
But also,
So
like, her
weird.
arms don't bend right. It almost looks like his shoulder has an elbow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty weird. Safety.
Safety just talks about how they're trying to, I think, bake in and you know, not generating hateful content and biases, as it says here.
The corgi with the
Talk,
GoPro is pretty hilarious, though.
the what one?
There's a corgi with a GoPro style camera.
Oh yeah, that's the one where it's sitting on the beach.
It is vlogging itself in tropical Maui.
But what's funny about this one is pointed out by somebody that was as well. First off, the bird just flipping disappears as it flies by. But the beaches are obviously two different beaches. Because
Yeah.
one has more roughed up sand and the other one is more smooth sand.
Well,
But
the one with the birds.
seamlessly disappears behind the corgi.
Yeah, like it looks almost like a sidewalk.
Mm-hmm.
You know. Yeah, it's pretty fun. But it's like if you're not really paying attention, you're like, damn, this is a cool video of a corgi on the beach, and then like, but the little things, yeah, if you're not really paying attention, it's like, oh, that's not real.
The next one over you'd like too is the cat walking through
Yeah, that was a good
a
one.
brush. But it's so well done, especially with the cat interacting with the brush and everything. But if you pay attention to his like right front paw, every once in a while it seems to like come out of his center of his chest in a weird way.
Oh yeah, it doesn't fully move. It just kind of
Yeah.
appears.
But the way that they're able to render the fur and just the interaction with the environment
Yeah,
is really good.
yeah, that slowness makes it look more real because it
Mm-hmm.
looks like you're slowing down, so like things are obviously reacting slightly different than what it would be if it was in real time.
Mm-hmm. The next one was just a panoramic shot of some place.
Looks like that's
Aerial
set
view
from Aquaman 1.
It could be Santorini
Yeah, I think it's
during
it.
the blue hour is what they call it.
Yeah, it looks pretty interesting.
A tilt shift look of a construction site with the really weird looking vehicle just kind of like moving in all four directions. It's
It's
like
like
a
a
forklift with no forks.
it's like a hovering thing, but like the door open. Like wow, yeah, it's really shifting. Like morphed into a different
Yeah,
direction,
that's hilarious. I didn't see that the first time.
and the people are changing size,
Mm-hmm.
like physical and like everything. Like that guy's running around all weird. And that's part of a building that's not actually there. That's pretty fun.
Yeah, I didn't notice that the first time. Uh, a giant, next one, a giant
Oh
tower
Jesus!
cloud in the shape of a man looms over the earth. The cloud man shoots lightning bolts down to the earth.
From his penis, apparently.
That is gnarly looking.
That's pretty cool though. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Oh, some puppies playing. Clearly they're not attached by gravity.
Right? But still really good.
Yeah. Again, if you weren't paying attention, you'd be like, oh, that's a cool little video.
Yeah. Train engine here. And that's the last of those. and then it talks more about the research techniques and whatnot from there. So anyway, to sum up what I was saying about this, because you mentioned that you were writing the story about, your own story about the aliens. When this releases, it would be really cool to see what people can do with, because obviously, like, you and I, especially you have ideas for, like, stories that you would like to tell.
Yeah.
But you lack the funds or the ability yourself to make these things real.
Yep.
And having the ability, or having the access to something like this, I think would really help those who are creative, that want to make their stuff real, to be able to just, like, hey, this is the short story that I wrote. As long as you can, for at least now, fit it into 1 minute. I'm sure once they get better, they can probably expand things out, or maybe you could just, like, write scene to scene as an idea of 1 minute or less, and then you just stitch these things together. It might not be fully consistent with one another, but you could really show what your idea for a story would be, and then release it to the world and just be like, this is the story I have, this is my short story type of thing, but visualized. And I think it'd be really cool.
I wonder if like OpenAI's Chat GPT, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you could get it to write prompts for Sora.
Oh,
so AI generating AI. You know what I mean?
Oh, it would be hilarious, and I don't doubt it, because you can already have ChatGPT say, hey, write me a spy thriller or something like that. It gives you, it doesn't, like, do a full novel, but it gives you, like, a short story for it.
Yeah.
And then you just take that prompt and just throw it into Sora and just be like, hey, AI writing for AI, But stuff like this makes me wonder then eventually, how, because and we already talked about it with Disney and whatnot, will we reach a day where someone just sits down and says, hey, this is a script idea I have, just generate a movie out of it, and you still would have to probably go back and fix things here and there, and you have voice cast and stuff like that, but how
it could be a writing assistant for sure,
that you could just, this is a script that I have, just make it in this style. Let's do an anime, make an anime.
Yeah, I wonder what that would be like if you. I mean, we obviously saw animated characters with, like, the kangaroo and the little, like, demon thing with the candle. Mm-hmm. But like I said, I wonder if you could take it and give it access to assets.
So I know, and I don't know if it goes through it in this website here. I had read that you can give it, like, a picture, and it can animate the picture.
Well, have you seen that app? Well, you're not on social media, but on both TikTok and Instagram, there's a filter where you can make static images animate, like, their faces, like you can do with pictures and action figures, mm-hmm. and it's stunningly good for what it is, and it's kind of creepy.
Yeah. So from my understanding, you can do something similar here. Obviously, it takes it to another level. But obviously, as well, you are feeding it. You do have, like, a set of things that you can pull from. Obviously, it doesn't necessarily have to be the internet. I'm pretty sure that you can have your own library of things. Like, hey, this is the concept for a character that I have. Animate the character. These are images that I already own.
Yeah.
Generate a video based off these images and the prompts that I give.
Yeah, because with, like, for example, like Disney, right? Mm-hmm. After so many, or Pixar, after so many movies, again, we'll use Toy Story because there's a lot of them so far, and soon to be more. Mm-hmm. When they animate from year to year, obviously animation has gotten better. Computer software has gotten better, right? I know they can take those and they build the algorithms and the needed, not algorithms, I guess might be algorithms. I'm not too sure how the computer term is for that. But when you have, like, a character like Woody, right? They have the animation is already designed in that asset. They can just put it in place and then with saying this obviously is probably not the right term, but a rudimentary drawing a line. I want Woody to walk from here to here. The animation's baked into that asset, so walk like Woody's supposed to walk with his swinging arms and his sort of hips back or forward type thing that Woody does. And having that built in, the AI would know automatically how Woody is animated. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So like it, because at a certain point, you're done animating all those characters, right? And when you create new ones, obviously you have to create the new animation for those ones, like Forky with his the fucking googly eyes, and the fact that he's like has the pipe cleaner arms and shit like that. Mm-hmm. But once you create that, the animation is just creating the scene and stuff, and like the computers are still doing that. They're taking all the information you put into the asset and interacting it with everything else in there. So the AI could technically do that with just those prompts. You could say like, Woody and Buzz are jousting under Andy's bed, in his bedroom with all the other characters, and you could even list them out. Obviously more detailed about it, and then it could probably spit out a very well done one that you can then just go and tweak. Because I'm guessing if it's animated like that, like right with like it's animation, so there has to be code that it's generating to make that happen.
Well, I imagine that those things have to be stored as maybe like images or videos type of thing. So
well, they are.
I don't know if they're stored as like raw 3D files. But I imagine that, yes, if you have like, this is what Woody looks like when he walks, and it's just an example of how Woody looks like when he walks and whatnot, that is a video example, that it can take that video example and then feed that in as, okay, I know this character is Woody. This is how he walks. Whenever I make a scene, I have to pull that information from here, and I just extrapolate from that. I just don't know, if they're... Because obviously you could definitely do post tweaking with After Effects or some sort of video editing software. I just don't know if you can do it's like a 3D thing where you can go in and have like the raw 3D files that you can change things with. I imagine that if you have this type of AI and someone could definitely apply it to the 3D world,
yeah,
it might be possible. I just don't know if this has that capability.
I wonder if you put it in a closed system, would it be able to do like? Because like with this, like obviously it's reaching the internet for like resources of what a black leather coat would look like, right, or whatever, right? It doesn't know what a black leather coat looks like. It has to look for those keywords to pull that information, to analyze the imagery, blah blah blah. But if you had all those in a closed system where and you gave it all the because it's going to learn the prompts, right? Like it has to know what Woody is, so the prompt would have to know the asset that is Woody versus Buzz, right?
Yes.
But if he was in a closed system, it'd probably be able to manipulate that, because it wouldn't be able to create. Well, I mean, it would be able to create a ragdoll cowboy, given the vast amount of information that's out there, and just have to be able to identify exactly what you meant by a ragdoll cowboy, right? But if you have it locked in saying Woody,
this is the only ragdoll that we have. This is the only way that a ragdoll cowboy moves. So it'd be a little bit more accurate in it. Because I see what you're saying.
Yeah, because if you give it, like, for example, right, if you want an AI to play chess against itself, you would have to give it all the rules and how they apply, right? And it would then obviously build its own thing and how it works. And obviously, if it's playing itself, it could easily know what the other person's doing. But you know what I mean? Like, you say, I want to, I want you to play a game of chess against yourself or whatever, and it could probably do those and make the game work properly, obviously, right? Like, this is the move that it makes, this is the move that it makes, blah, blah, blah. But when it comes to, like, those interacting of the characters with the world, it'd have to have all those the known variables for everything, right? How tall the bed frame would be from the floor, things like that. Because with especially with the Toy Story stuff, if you look back at the original ones, the Toy Story 1 versus Toy Story 4, obviously the animation is drastically better. But I would imagine utilizing it more as a tool to roughly animate would be better than having someone painstakingly go through and hand animate all that motion. If you could get it to understand things, and like I said, it wouldn't be the output you're getting from it wouldn't be the release you send out to theaters. It would just be the thing going to the next animator to then tweak it to be proper with, because with especially with Pixar movies in general, they're very cinematic. They're not like a standard animation where it's basically a fixed image that things are moving around in. It has multiple camera angles. It has has crane shots, and it does these things where like you normally wouldn't have in an animated movie, but they want to make it realish in 3D. So like the cameras move around in real space with real lighting. So that would probably still have to be done, tweaked and finalized by an actual animator. But you could utilize something like this to give you those almost like worked out storyboards.
Yeah, that's actually something I was going to...
Or animatics, is what they're called? Animatics, when it's animation?
Storyboards, animatics, yeah. Is that where something like this would be perfect, because you don't have to worry about what the end result is, as most people who've grown up with Disney and whatnot have seen behind the scenes stuff, they don't just start taking pen to paper and start drawing stuff. They actually sit down and go, this is our story, these are the main beats that we want to hit, so let's just storyboard this to kind of get a concept of what this is. So this, as it stands right now, it would be something really cool for those animators and whatnot to just storyboard an idea.
Yeah.
This is what I think this scene should look like. Let's type it into this, into this, and see what it spits out. And you could be like, okay, that worked. You can see just a small clip of how that works, and you just get a better idea of the visuals of it. And you can still just tweak things within just the wording and kind of get an idea rather than a finalized, type thing like you said. So I think something like this would be really good for just storyboarding as well.
Yeah, more of proof of concept than final product.
Yeah.
I mean, there's going to be people who cheat and do use this as that, but then we're going to, obviously it's not going to be perfect. And we're like, well, that seems like it was generated by AI.
Oh, definitely. But as long as, and like I said before, what prompted this whole thing is like, as long as you're upfront with it, of just like, hey, the story is my idea, I just don't have the funds to be able to make this a reality type thing. So I used this AI generate, the Sora in order to generate this video. I think it's perfectly fine. You have the understanding that A, this is fake, B, that it's not going to be perfect, so you're already going into it just saying, hey, I'm just the writer of the story. This is what my idea is through Sora. I think is a really good thing and a really cool way to get your story out there.
Yeah. I believe that is a true statement, sir. Mm-hmm. The only thing I actually had, I forgot I had it saved in here, was have you been? So did you see the big announcement from the update Microsoft gave or Xbox gave about their the future of games and Game Pass stuff?
I think I didn't read anything. I just think I saw that because I know last year they had a leak, and they, one of the leaks was that, hey, we're coming out with a more powerful Xbox. Did they finally announce it, or are they just saying that they're working on a more powerful Xbox?
So they didn't announce it. They said they're working on it, which obviously we all, like, if you're dumb enough to think they're not planning already ahead for another console, you're fucking stupid.
Well, it's not only just another console. It's like we already have it established that both manufacturers, Sony and Microsoft, like to release a refresh of
Yeah,
their Xbox of their game consoles halfway through their life expectancy. So I'm just expecting this to be, what would this? I don't even know what the naming of this thing would be,
Xbox.
because you went from Xbox X or Xbox One to One X, and then you have Xbox Series X. So what would this be? Xbox Series XX? I don't know.
No, you can't do that because it dives too close into the whole like porn industry thing.
You're just tickling the edge. I know you're just edging. I get it. So that's what I was saying. Like I don't know what the name would be, but that's what my takeaway was. I didn't read anything about it. I just saw them say that they had talked about a future Xbox, and it's like, oh, okay, you're just a pro.
Yeah.
Version.
So
because Sony does their pro version. They have.
Yeah.
I'm expecting a PS5 Pro.
Yeah, which is absolutely ridiculous to ever fucking do. And I'm saying that from someone who bought multiple Xboxes, but like I didn't buy every variation of it. I waited like the next one up. Like I had like an Xbox, like I had a 360, right? And then I finagled my way into an Xbox 360 Pro.
Mm-hmm.
But I never
Elite.
Or well, no, I had the Elite. Was it Elite first or Pro
yeah,
first?
The Elite was Xbox 360 because I had a 360 Elite. I was the person that always skipped the initial launch and went with the upgraded version.
I was the other way.
So I had Elite, and then I had the One X Scorpio Edition because I knew somebody that worked at the Microsoft store that was really cool to help me get that.
Yeah.
And so technically, cool. I would be in line to get whatever the Pro version upgrade for the Xbox is. I just don't think I will get it. But anyway.
Yeah. So basically, the early last week, I believe it was, another leak happened because apparently that's what happens, and all these people on the internet just blew up saying that Microsoft is getting out of the console business and they're going strictly software, and that's dumb. Yeah, it's the biggest leap possible, and I don't understand. I read a lot of this stuff, and I don't know where they got the idea that consoles are going away. And they're going to start putting all their exclusives on all the other consoles. They're going to focus on making games only. And I'm like, where are you guys getting any of this info from? Because I'm reading the same stuff I think that you're getting from these leaked things, and I don't understand where your jump in logic is coming from.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's no chance in hell Xbox is going to put Halo and Gears of War on a PlayStation.
Well, that I say could happen.
But it's not. Like, that's the thing.
But my thing is that I'm saying that it could happen because, I did see rumors that Xbox could be releasing their exclusive titles on PlayStation. I could definitely see it, though, as, hey, you have to have, we're not releasing that stuff on PlayStation. We're giving you Game Pass for other systems.
And so they're not.
And so they're not, because you're still, it's one of those things that, like, yeah, you're not releasing those games on Game Pass, on PlayStation or whatnot. We're not exiting the hardware market. That's the one thing I think is dumb, them saying we're exiting the hardware market. But I can definitely see them saying, hey, we're going to have this an exclusive for Xbox for 1 year or whatnot. And then once we've gotten all the money that we can from it being Xbox exclusive for 1 year, after that we will release it to other consoles as like a part of our Game Pass thing, for those other consoles, for Switch and whatnot. I can definitely see them doing that because from there, you already have it set where they're saying, hey, the reason why we bought Activision Blizzard, and we promised that we wouldn't make Call of Duty exclusive. This would be just an extension of that, of just saying, hey, no, we are. Look, it's one thing I've always said is you shouldn't really have these in perpetuity exclusives. because you're just missing out on other markets to make money from.
Yeah.
And everyone likes making money. Obviously, you have your exclusives there, your Halos, your Gears of War and whatnot, to try and draw as much people to your hardware, because hardware is a loss leader at this point, if I recall right. Software is where it's making money. So if you're just locking yourself down to one system in perpetuity, you're going to have that spike of just like, it's really popular, and then it just dies off. Well, what if when it starts dying off, you just go, and it's available for PlayStation now?
Yeah.
And you suddenly have a spike in sales again because people are now buying it on PlayStation to be able to get it, or PC to be able to get it. But I can definitely see them. That's more of a now we've made it to work with PlayStation type thing. But I can definitely see them saying, hey, but if you just buy a subscription to Xbox Game Pass through PlayStation, you can have it. You don't really own it. You're streaming it more than likely. But now now they have they have that constant income that every company wants now. Just idle income. People are just like, I paid for my Xbox Game Pass, even though I have a PlayStation Game Pass as well, just to get different games. I can definitely see them doing that.
Yeah,
so that's my point. That's what I'm saying.
So they're not putting... They confirm in this business update that they did that they're not putting Game Pass anywhere but Xbox and PC.
Okay, so everything I just said is wrong.
Yes. I let you go because I understand what you're saying. And the reason why, obviously, is because they... other consoles don't want to generate revenue directly for Microsoft without getting any back.
I can see that, definitely. That's the whole Apple thing.
Yeah, and you're already splitting dollars to go multiple places as is right now with the studios releasing games on Game Pass, and obviously the amount of people playing a game and how much money they're making off it is drastically lower using Game Pass, right? Because no matter how you do the math, it's still, again, I don't know how the math works out ever for this, but that's how that's someone higher up than me that figured this out. But basically, what this business update basically said was they're bringing, as of right now, they didn't announce what it is, coming up, there will be 4 previously released Xbox PC exclusives, like Microsoft exclusives. Obviously, I want to say that because versus Xbox. So Microsoft exclusives that are at least a year old that will be released on other consoles, including the PlayStation and the Switch.
Okay.
So, and he specifically, in real English words, because this is the thing that everyone grasped onto when this leak came out, that these games, the exclusives are going to other consoles. Finally releasing Starfield, and they're going to announce that Indiana Jones is going to be on other consoles. He specifically said, no, Starfield is not one of them, and Indiana Jones is not one of them. And he's reiterated they're at least a year old each, and they're going to be on those other consoles, and it's for it only. And he basically said they're not the Microsoft Studio games.
So it's a different
Gears.
Yeah, so it's a different company that they own. They could be releasing that type of stuff on,
exactly.
Which
So
still leaves it up to Halo, because yes, they own the property, but 343 Studios is 343 Studios is Microsoft.
Yeah.
So
it can't be
that
Halo.
Would be a no. So that would be a no on that one. So whatever it is, yeah. But it goes to my initial point. One of my points though was that it's not going to be a brand new game. It's going to be something that has been out for a while. And like I said, you get the initial sales because of being an exclusive Xbox game. And then once those sales fall off 1 year later, you get that extra injection of sales by releasing it for other consoles. So I think it's a good idea.
So this is the not the exact quote, but this is the blurb from it. He said, he didn't name the titles, but contrary to previous rumors, again, because people just jumped wildly to fucking conclusions, Starfield, Indiana Jones, and the Great Circle are not coming to PlayStation 5 and Switch for now.
Again, a year later.
Yep.
We could be saying something different, but yeah, you're right.
And then reports are saying the 2 most favorited titles are going to be Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves. And then the other rumors are, they're not confirmed, is it'd be Halo and Gears of War.
I don't remember who does Gears of War. That's God damn it. That's Cliff Bleszinski's fucking.
It
shit.
was the later games were done by a slightly different company.
Right, but still, I don't remember what company.
The
was
Coalition is who does the later Gears games.
But who did it earlier?
So it was Epic.
Epic. That's who it was. Okay, Epic.
So, but it was Epic was the developer, but they were made for Microsoft games.
Yeah, that one I could see the early games because that was not a company that Microsoft owns, but it's a property that they own, and that falls within that wording right there.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a first party studio because it was Epic Games,
But
it is their exclusive game content. So I can definitely see that being something that they're doing. Plus, you know, obviously, if you're doing game one, that's a little bit over a year old. You know?
Yeah. I mean, the last Halo game, Infinite, is more than a year old. So
is more than a year old. But again, 343 Studios is owned by Microsoft, so that falls outside of that.
Yeah, so I think it.
Right
I don't think those are going to be them. I think it. I mean, Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves makes sense because Rare makes Sea of Thieves, and
Rare is actually owned by Sony right now.
Yeah.
Right? Rare is owned by Sony.
Yeah, and who makes?
I don't remember who makes Hi-Fi Rush.
It's Bethesda, right?
Hold on. Oop, that's not how you spell hi.
Hi-Fi Rush. I want to say it's Bethesda.
That's not even actually how you spell hi-fi, now that I'm thinking about it. Hi-Fi Rush, because it's musical. Available on Steam. Bethesda. It's on Bethesda.net, so I'm assuming that it is Bethesda at least published.
Yeah.
Unreal Engine 4... single player. Come on, guys.
It's a gorgeous looking game.
The developer is Tango Gameworks. The publisher is Bethesda Softworks. So technically not made by a company that Microsoft owns, just published.
But because it's published by them, they control where it goes. So, Microsoft can tell it where it can and cannot be sold.
They can. I'm just saying it as falling within that statement of something that's over a year old.
Yeah.
From a company that they don't own.
Yeah.
They don't own technically the developer. They just own the publisher. So.
And they emphasize very much so that these were Xbox or these were Microsoft exclusive titles. They weren't Microsoft games. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
So. I mean, yes, technically, Halo and Gears of War could go other places, right? I don't know if they would. That makes little less sense than anything else. But these other games that aren't Microsoft, like when you think Gears of War and Halo, you think Microsoft. But when you think Sea of Thieves, the only reason you think Microsoft is because that's the only place it's been.
Yes.
You know what I mean? They're not. When I think Sea of Thieves, I don't go, oh, that's a Microsoft game. I think, oh, that's a Rare game that's on Microsoft only. So that's what they're talking about in this. So they don't specifically say what 4 games, but in here they mention that this holiday season they're going to be telling us more about the next console. Now, is that I doubt that's going to be a new console, like Joe was just saying a little bit ago. It's probably going to be a refreshed version. But they mentioned the weird thing in this. Let's see if I can find the wordings that they said, because it's all about the words used and how people don't understand words and how to use words. Hold on, give me a second to find it again. Matt Booty. What's the guy's name, by the way? Oh, here he goes.
Nice.
So, meanwhile, Xbox president Sarah Bond assured fans that Microsoft isn't looking to get out of the console hardware business. In fact, the team has already has some exciting stuff coming out in hardware that we're going to share this holiday. And then it said previous leaks, again, because people love extrapolating information from leaks, indicated that the Microsoft was building an all-digital version of the Xbox Series X that has improved Wi-Fi connectivity and more powerful efficiency, which I'm all about, because I think, like, I say this, and I just bought a physical game the other day. But it was a Switch game, so it makes sense because the Switch internal memory is fucking trash. It's worse than it is technically worse than like what the PlayStation and the Xbox have on them, because those games are so massive. But the PlayStation, the Switch games are not massive games, but there's hardly any system memory, like, or storage on it. It's not system memory, system storage. It's so terrible, and I'm like, it's so bad. Why is this so bad? If I can get a fucking iPhone with a terabyte of memory in it, why can't I get a terabyte in my fucking Switch? Anyhow, so I would be down. I wouldn't buy it because I have essentially the same Xbox with the disc drive, so I wouldn't go and spend an extra $600 or whatever to buy this. It's probably gonna be a little slightly cheaper because that's what always happens with those ones. And like improved Wi-Fi connectivity, I'm hardwired, so it doesn't matter to me. And I will always be hardwired if I can manage it. And more power efficiency. That's just speaking. It uses less power from the wall. Not that it's a more powerful console. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it probably doesn't get as hot too. That's one of those things. Like it's more efficient with the way it uses power.
Yeah, so that's the thing. And then so that's cool that they're gonna. And again, people are like, oh, new console this holiday season. That's, again, you got to pay attention to the words that they're saying. They want to share what's going on in the holiday season, which is they're basically just, hey, this is gonna be a great time to jump on the Xbox family because we are gonna basically make new stuff. Like, they're not launching a new console this year, I don't think. Because the way this sounds,
because this is way too short of a release period.
Yeah, it's just like, bro, this isn't a failed console. This isn't a fucking Wii U. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's just like, I don't know. It's just the way people are talking makes me laugh that they just don't understand how words work, and they're just like, oh, Xbox getting out of the console business. Where the fuck did you see any of that at?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So they basically. To reiterate, they basically said that Game Pass is not going anywhere but PC and Xbox because, again, that's just not a viable way of doing it. The other consoles are not going to want that because then their consoles are being or just a screen or just a streaming device for this. They're never going to their sales for their games are going to drastically drop. That's not going to happen. The 4 games that are going from being Microsoft exclusives to other consoles are a year old. They're most likely not Microsoft titles. And then the other thing they added in is that going forward from this day that they announced it, which was a couple days ago, all games from Microsoft Studio or Microsoft Games companies will be day one on Game Pass.
I thought that was already a thing.
Think about what I just said, Joe. From today, the day this was put out there, what major franchise that they now own
keep going
comes out every October, November? We talked about this before when the acquisition finally went through. What game franchise were we like, oh, I can't wait for that to hit Game Pass because I'll play the campaign of those, but not the multiplayer?
And that's what I was thinking. It'd be Call of Duty. I just was thinking, like, is it really? Like, I just don't pay attention to the release dates of those things.
Yep,
so they are.
They're saying that Call of Duty and other Activision games, including ones that are already out, are going to be hitting Game Pass, but they're going to be day one when they come out. Diablo 4 is actually coming out to Game Pass in March.
Okay.
Which is the first of those games to come to Game Pass on there. So it'll be the first Activision Blizzard title to hit Game Pass. And I want to say, I'm trying to find the date on this other article. I want to say they gave a date, and I don't remember what it was. I don't know if it says on here. But yeah, so it will be there, and then they're going to slowly add in other Blizzard or Activision Blizzard games to hit Game Pass soon. So that means Call of Duty will be on there. That means things like, not that I play it, but all the other World of Warcraft and stuff will be available on PC, and it'll be no extra charge. Oh, March 28th, there it is. Was when it lands. So you'll be able to play Diablo 4 on Xbox and PC with no extra charge to all Game Pass members starting that day. And then as these years come in the next few months, they're gonna start trickling in other titles to be added to as well. So this year we should be able to play the past Call of Duty games on Game Pass for no additional charge. And the reason they say that is because people keep saying like, oh, they're gonna do what like they did with EA, because if you don't have Ultimate, right? I think it's Ultimate. You don't get access to EA games, right?
I think so.
If you have just the core, you only get the Xbox games. You have to go to the Ultimate to get EA. But also, one of the worst subscription services you could possibly pay for, the PlayStation one. And I say that from someone who had it for a year and then didn't re-up it because it's the worst waste of money possible. If you buy the higher tier of it, you get access to the Ubisoft Plus catalog. And the reason I say that the Microsoft or the PlayStation 1 is a waste of money and time is their games aren't day and day. They're not day one releases. You have to wait months to play them. Yep. Many of the back catalog games are not downloadable. They're streamable only.
Yeah.
Which is horseshit.
Yeah.
And I say that because Sony servers are fucking trash when it comes to streaming or just downloading in general. It seems like their games take forever to download. But I digress on that. It's just a terrible waste of money, and it's the amount of games you get on there for what you're paying for is nothing compared to what you get for Xbox. Because the day and date games, day one game release is by far the best benefit to the Game Pass over what the PlayStation Network one is.
Oh yeah. Because
you don't get those games. Like if you have PlayStation Plus, you don't get that new Gears of War game. I don't even think the newest Gears of War game is on that yet. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that is the dumbest thing ever, because you're paying to play online, right? But Gears of War, God of War doesn't have a multiplayer. It's not an online anything.
No.
So you're not combining those two services to save money. You're literally paying to play online games for arguably the console that has some of the best offline games. Like they have God of War. Stray was amazing, even though Stray's on Xbox now, but not on Game Pass. You have all those. Like they're just so good. But then you're paying for an online service, and then you don't get those games for months on end. And that makes no sense to me. That why anyone's like, if you're paying for PlayStation Network to play online games, those aren't the games you're playing. You know what I mean? You're probably playing Destiny 2. You're probably playing Call of Duty, whatever version is you're playing. You may be playing Fortnite, which obviously you have to pay for the online to do it, but you don't have to pay for the game. But you're Apex Legends, I think, is one that's still on there and things like that. You're paying to play those games online, which to me still boggles my mind. That's a thing, but I understand like the servers need to be paid for and blah blah blah, right? But you're buying a $700 console to play these games, and then you have to pay to play them online. Bothers me a little bit, but that's a different thing. So yeah, so that's kind of the exciting news out of the Microsoft business update that came out earlier this week, in the fact that like all these fucking online people were like this and that and this and that, and none of it came true, other than the fact that some Microsoft exclusive games are going to other consoles. But we kind of like expected that later on, like with all the stuff they've been talking about, like they're never going to be console exclusives forever. And to Joe's point, he said earlier, why limit yourself to one place to get that versus, hey, if you're on our ecosystem and you pay for Game Pass, you can play these games. Great. There are fanboys and girls and other entities that are fans of things. I don't want to loop in anything or leave anyone else out, that only play on PlayStation or only have a Switch. A lot of times the Switch is because that's what their parents bought them because it's a cheaper alternative and blah, blah, blah. So you're going to play those. The thing is, a lot of these games have to be reworked to work on those consoles, especially the Switch, because the Switch does not have the computing power that a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X do. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you right now, Hi-Fi Rush is going to probably put a lot of strain on a Switch. Because it is one heck of a gorgeous game, but there's a lot going on in that game. Mm-hmm. So, whatever. But that's all I had. That was the only thing I had saved on there. I did find that that thing about Sora, though, on Engadget, as we were talking earlier, by the way. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, I think this is where Joe might have found it at.
No, I found it somewhere else. Or I can't remember now. It was on Reddit, I think, where I found it. People were talking about the somebody was talking about the truck, and then I just went from there because it linked to the OpenAI Twitter account, and then I went to OpenAI.com, and then I just went from there.
Don't let Taj hear you say the word Twitter. He'll think you're on there. Sharing his fucking links through Twitter instead of an actual link that everyone can use.
We won't get into that. Anyway, that's all I had to.
All right, cool, brother. Well, that's it for this week's episode of Comes Naturally. We have been
Joe.
I have been Cody, and as usual, you fuckers just came naturally.
Bye.